Do you know what I think would get us all in the Christmas spirit? Some YouTube drama. It's just so festive, isn't it? But yeah, hello, welcome to the Marky channel. Before we do get into the stuff I want to talk about today, I do just want to say we're trying to reach 350,000 subscribers on this channel. Now, that won't be until beginning next year, but if we can maybe try and get to 330,000 subscribers before Christmas next week, let's try and do that. It's gonna be very, very close, but I reckon we can do it, okay? And we might need all your help, so we can just scroll down, press the subscribe button, and that would be bloody amazing. And also, my Instagram is @MARKIE, and I've been having a bunch of fun replying to you a lot there. You've been asking me questions, my opinions on topics I haven't spoke about in videos yet, and so on. And I'm responding to as many people as I can. So if you do want to interact outside of the videos and topics that I didn't mention in the video, then do that @MARKIE on Instagram, okay? But now enough of the begging out the way, because I know a few people get very angry at that. Shall we get into the video? Today's video is going to be one of them ones where we give a bit of an update on a previous situation, okay? And in today's one, we're talking about Ethan responding to Dave Portnoy. If you remember a few days ago, we reacted to Trisha Paytas being on Dave Portnoy's podcast, where Dave Portnoy, for some reason, decided to insult Ethan about his Tourette's, which isn't exactly your standard insult you'd go for, is it? But for some reason, he thought it'd be funny, and he thought people wouldn't be pissed off of that, but obviously people in the right mind were like, you physically just can't do that, that's just a stupid thing to say. And it turns out Ethan Klein has actually responded to not only Dave Portnoy, but to stuff Trisha Paytas has also said on the podcast, okay? Right, let's get into the reaction.
Okay, so Dave Portnoy, you guys know he's the guy from Barstool Sports or whatever, does the pizza review and everything.
Portnoy, right?
Portnoy. Let me pull up a picture.
It's David Portley is how it's pronounced.
No, it's,
wait, what?
We all get confused because we don't like him until we mess up his name.
Right, can I just say straight away, who the fuck did the makeup for Ethan? Jesus Christ. I've seen people do, Grinch makeup before, okay, and they, wear costumes and whatnot, but that looks like it's straight out of the fucking movie. I don't get how the fuck they've done that. That is ridiculous, okay? I feel like I sat here to try and, focus on what Ethan was going to say about Dave, but to be honest, I'm probably going to be fixated on his face right now, and that's not something I thought I would ever say about H3. But yeah, good job to whoever did that. You're the real winner in this situation.
Trisha told me that she was going to go on his podcast. He has this podcast, BFF. I guess he has a bunch of podcasts. And he has a podcast with an 18-year-old TikToker who's one of these guys who just dances with his shirt off and does like this. Da, 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 like
yeah, it is slightly odd, okay? We did say that in the last video. I think the big problem was that Ethan said he was 16 before, when clearly he's not 16, he's 18 years old. And to be honest, the concept of having a podcast, even with their age difference, wouldn't be the biggest problem in the world if it wasn't for the stuff they talk about. They talk about TikTokers' relationships.
And this is the old guy coming in, Dave here. I'm gonna give you very honest advice. If you're dating a girl and she's going on BFF trips to Malibu at night, your girl's fucking somebody else. That's just...
Dude.
Yeah. Standard stuff to talk about with people half your age, isn't it? But yeah, I think that's where it becomes a bit weird. They could have had a podcast about anything else, but instead it's about TikTokers sleeping with each other. So yeah, a little bit odd.
And he has a podcast with this 18-year-old and he talks gossip and shit. And I was like, he's
And
weird.
how old is he?
He's fucking, I don't know, 40, in his 40s?
43.
43. I mean, look at him. His face looked like he... Listen, I know who's talking, right? But anyway, I'm not going to make fun of the way he looked. Trisha said, I'm going on this guy's podcast, and I go, fuck Dave Portnoy. Creepy fucking weirdo. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and then after he said that, he responded in the most mature way possible and said, haha, you've got Tourette's, which everyone knows is the most common thing to say in an argument, right? It still blows my mind that he thought that'd be a good idea. And the worst part about it was, then Trisha, actually said to him,
you do realize, the reason why he has, an eye twitch is because he's got Tourette's.
And then Dave Portnoy, instead of being like, oh shit, sorry, didn't know, he's more like,
Okay, I'll double down on it. Fuck that guy.
have a podcast that I guess you canceled recently, right?
Yeah, we were supposed to have it go today. We're meeting today to see if it's gonna continue. I don't really know. It's kind of up to them. I want to continue, but I don't know.
Up to who?
It's Ethan and Ela because it's on their H3 channel. So it's kind of up to them, and I'm the one that cursed his
This guy literally is take it from me, a horrible podcast host. This guy sucks. He doesn't do any research. He doesn't know anything about her.
Do you know, kind of just remind me of that stereotypical teaching your granddads how to use technology for the first time or some shit. And they're like, so tell me, what is a TikTok? Dave Portnoy is like that, except he also talks about who's having sex on this said TikTok app that he doesn't really know that much about.
So let's start with this, because when we invited you on, and do you have any idea who I am, Josh is, Brianna? Are you aware of us at all?
Yeah, I know you from the Caller Daddy scandal. Impulsive talked about you guys a lot, so that's how I know you.
Okay, got it. So we asked you to be on the show, and then we have this clip here of this is the guy you do the podcast with. And let's start with that because he was kind of trashing.
Yep.
Oh, I was asked to be on Barstool Sports.
Don't do it. No, he has one with like 6. He has one that's pretty fucking weird, I have to say. With two like
weird.
16-year-old TikTokers.
Yeah, I think that's why he fucked up. And the fact that he was like, oh, he has it with 16-year-olds, because then it would be really fucking weird, okay? We're getting past the really weird part to like the really, really weird part. Because if it was with a 16-year-old and he was talking about the stuff that we've just kind of mentioned right there, then yeah, that would probably result in quite a bigger scandal than just Ethan trash him on a podcast.
Yeah.
But don't you find it a little odd that this grown-ass fucking man how is long making- have they been 18? Find out, Dan. I bet they just turned and he signed them. He's like 18th birthday, let's go, BFFs now. I'm best friends forever with the 18.
It is a bit of a weird fucking name for the podcast as well, isn't it? Gotta be honest. But yeah, I think it's just like the context of the actual podcast and what they talk about. I think that's the main thing that makes it weird, right?
Let me just do some research on this kid who's apparently qualified to host a podcast.
What are the qualifications?
Here he is. Oh, he is jacked, bro.
Right, so that is apparently the video that Dave Portnoy saw and thought, you know what, I need to sign in for a podcast. I reckon he's got loads of stories. We've got to remember as well, Dave Portnoy's the person who said that Ethan's the type of guy to, like lock some kid in a van or some shit. So, I don't want to say anything, but slightly ironic, right?
You can't have whatever eye twitch that guy has and call another person weird. Like that guy, guy's universally strange, weird.
It's such like a fucking like playground insult, isn't it? It's like someone comes at you with, to be honest, some kind of criticism. He was taking the piss a little bit, he was mugging him off, but it was kind of criticism. It was a bit like, okay, right, you're 43, why are you doing a podcast with a TikTok kid and talking about TikTok relationships, like with teenagers and stuff, which I think's fair. And then he's just sat there and being like,
Well, you have Twitch, yeah? So you're not allowed to say anything.
which everyone knows is scientific proof right now, okay? If you have Tourette's, apparently, you aren't allowed to have an opinion on a situation. Yeah, you've won, mate. You've won. That's 1-0 you, I reckon.
That guy is somebody that will like throw a kid in a van type vibes.
Okay, I take it back. That's actually the most, like, stereotypical playground insult you could ever come up with, isn't it? He says he hides kids in vans, you know? Really has ended his career with that one, it's gotta be said.
Without
Dave,
knowing
you're the
anything.
one hosting a show with the 18-year-old who just clicked over from 17. If you want to talk about the likelihood of someone being thrown in a van, your ass is way more approximate to that, okay? I'm sitting here married, bro. You're like the weird fucking, like, bachelor. Like, get the feeling that he's, like, the bachelor life kind of guy. Is he
I
married?
feel like it is just like an argument between two dads at this point. Just two slightly older blokes talking about who's the oldest and who's the creepiest. Your standard Christmas beef.
Definitely cancel. There's not a bigger.
Oh, she did like a whole cancel thing. I haven't even seen this yet. It's saying who should cancel news. No, okay, right. We need to watch this, don't we?
Definitely cancel. There's not a bigger
You hate
pesticide
James
on the internet.
What'd you call him?
A pesticide.
Pesticide. Why do you hate him so much?
He is absolutely disgusting on so many levels. He takes everything and twist like everything. He's never wrong. My biggest thing is with someone is like, hey, take accountability. You know, that's why I don't really like love Logan Paul or Jake Paul, but they take accountability. They like own up when they're wrong.
Do they? Do they? I mean, yeah, Logan Paul maybe, but Jake Paul takes accountability. Are you really coming here with that being your main argument? What the fuck? I don't think I've seen Jake Paul take accountability for anything in this entire life. Right, you've kind of ruined it off the bat there, Trisha, but I'll hear you out, okay? Why should we cancel James Charles?
But James is even worse because James just gets things wrong so many times. He said that I loved Hitler in his TikTok. He goes, Trisha said Hitler wasn't that bad of a guy. I was like, when did I ever say that? Like, he gets so much shit wrong and can never take accountability for anything. He just hides.
Yeah, I think that's a bit unfair of a statement to make. But Trisha, you did say quite a few things that were a bit insensitive about, like, the whole, like, Holocaust and Hitler and whatnot. I mean, let's listen to what she had to say.
Do you guys roleplay?
Pharaoh. Yeah, but not the Holocaust. Because I said
I don't know. They wouldn't think that you did that.
like going in the shower, like, but that was
That
like
is so inappropriate.
no.
Right, so yeah, you said some dodgy shit, Trisha. And I think what also Trisha did say, I think what James is alluding to is like, she didn't know that why Hitler was a bad guy. She didn't know about the Holocaust, which is just mental how you can go 30 odd years without knowing about the Holocaust. I don't even know how that's possible. But I don't think she outrightly said Hitler isn't a bad guy. So I do think that is unfair. She's just really fucking dumb and somehow didn't know what actually happened in World War II.
He's a little leech onto these people, and he's best friends with a 16-year-old, self-admittedly. And I was like, that's weird. I don't care if you're gay or straight. Don't be best friends with a 16-year-old when you're 21. It's gross.
21, 16 is not that different, but just for the
It's
record.
very different. It's very different.
Bryce was like 21 when I was 17 and we hung out. So I would have been a minor and he was older. I wouldn't say that was weird that Bryce was my friend.
There's a big power struggle. I'm telling you that just from my own personal experience, and maybe not everyone has had these experiences, but there is something very wrong about someone being friends with a minor, point blank period, 17 and under. Like, it's just wrong. I don't care if you're almost, like, it's gross. Like, and 21's big difference than 17 and 18.
I can see where she's kind of coming from, to be honest. I honestly, as much as I love to sit here and disagree with Trisha, I wouldn't exactly say that James Charles is, like, really fucking creepy for doing it. But yeah, she is right in the sense that, like, it's a bit odd, isn't it? Like, I'm 22 right now, and I wouldn't be, like, mate with a 16-year-old or whatnot. But I think what James Charles is, like, trying to say is that he's been, like, a mentor almost and helping Charlie and Dixie into, like, how they're getting into the spotlight and they don't want to, like, basically hit rock bottom straight away and do something wrong because they're not used to it. But yeah, you can slightly see where she's coming from, right?
Never cancel Shane. He's a treasure. He's the real one, and he's super sweet and humble and kind, and
Right, you can't just switch up like that, Trisha Paytas. You literally can't do this whole big spiel on why you should cancel James Charles, and then because he's, like, creepy with things like he's, like, friends with minors, and he said stuff about minors and whatnot, and then be like,
Shane Dawson, humble as they come. He's so sweet.
he's done worse. He's done absolutely worse with the exact same category of thing that you're talking about right now. He said stuff about minors, and he did weird shit. Like, you have your opinions, okay, but they've got to fucking make sense and they've got to correlate. You can't just have two people who, in your opinion, have done slightly similar things, but then have a completely different opinion on them.
I think he took accountability and took his break off the internet and stuff like that, but I will 1,000% say he's not a bad guy. He's apologized time and time again, has taken accountability for jokes that were made before I even met him, which was over 12 years ago. Were they gross and disgusting? Yes. Was it a different time? Yes. Louis C.K. makes jokes like that. They're gross and it's not good for our time.
Louis C.K. got canceled.
I think it was also not even just, like, the jokes that Shane Dawson made. There was, like, actual, like, clips of him pretending to, you know, with Willow Smith. There was also, like, videos of, like, meet and greets where he would, like, swap chewing gum with people, like, out of the mouths, like, just mouth to mouth, basically. And then, obviously, the stuff with the Tati Westbrook, where he basically, like, orchestrated or allegedly orchestrated the whole, like, drama with James Charles and whatnot. But, of course, Trisha Paytas is leaving out key bits, okay? But not surprised.
Like, whipping his dick out in front of, like, people.
Yeah.
He did, but he didn't. Like, he still has his show airing and stuff on, like, FX and specials, and it's, like, you know, it's a different time, and Shane did this in 2009.
What did he get canceled for? I don't even know.
He was pretending to, like, jerk off on like Will Smith's daughter when it was like a poster of Will Smith's daughter when she was like 9 years old or something.
Got canceled for a lot of stuff, like blackface.
Yeah, there were
racist,
many
pedophilia, lots of stuff.
Go on, Trisha, defend it then.
I think people also miss him. You know, I think they cancel him, but he's not as I know a lot of people, and like a lot of people have evil or like bad intentions, and like he really like doesn't.
She just ignored everything then. She ignored everything, went, well,
Well, yeah, but he's a nice guy, I promise.
I can't believe I haven't watched this portion of the fucking podcast yet. Look, it's really hard to sit here and watch, especially this an hour and 30 of Trisha Paytas. Very difficult. And somehow I missed this. And yeah, I'm kind of wishing now I did just fully miss it. I didn't have to come back and sit through all this shit.
You know, he came from like a pretty traumatic childhood and stuff like that. He
So-
talks openly about it.
So you think that James has like evil intentions compared to Shane Dawson?
Oh,
Because I've
James-
met James and I've only gotten good vibes from James. I think James seems like a sweet guy.
You're a TikToker and you're young. You're the right age for James, right? He wants to leech onto the new generation.
Come on, Trisha. For fuck's sake, man. But James is 21 and this lad's 18. You can't sit there and try and be like, that's really fucking creepy, okay? That's going a bit far now. You can't be like, oh.
Well, you're the right age for James.
Like, you're sat here saying that Josh and James being friends when one's 18 and one's 21 is really fucking weird on a podcast called BFFs with a 43-year-old and an 18-year-old. You're just fucking obliterating this Dave guy, like, unintentionally right now.
He leeches onto the new generation because he was dying on YouTube after the Tati scandal. So of course he's going to be nice to you and stuff. But he has very malice intention for sure with the Tati, with the James. He's very calculated and he's very evil. And to even put words in my mouth that I don't say, I was like, okay, you're just being like an evil like little bitch.
All right.
And that's what James is. James is.
I heard
I
heard some different things about certain people putting words into Tati's mouth, but not James. Not James telling Tati what to say. But
I don't really really know on that situation. I don't really know.
You just mentioned it. You just mentioned it, Trisha. So why mention it if you don't really fucking know it?
I don't know James. I've never met him. But just how he acts towards me, or even H3, the guy that I host with, you know, he stole a sweatshirt design and he's like, too bad, I'm still selling him. Like, he openly admitted in the DMs that he stole the design and he was being a little like bitch about it. I was like, oh.
I will say
he's just gross.
That is something always I feel like to clarify in some of these, like you. So you know Shane personally, you don't know James Charles at all. Like, so you're going off what you hear or whatever. Like, you don't have a
I go off how James is treating me online. He made up straight up lies about me in that thing, saying that I voted for Trump, like all this crazy shit. I mean, those are just lies. Like, you don't lie on someone's name. I control and I've done some shit, but I've never lied on someone's name. I think that's so gross and disgusting. That's not fair to paint someone in that light.
Are we talking about the same Trisha Paytas here? Trisha Paytas has never lied on someone's name. The countless times she's went to a video and just fucking rambled for ages about certain people and then later being like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that, and it was kind of just in the moment type thing, you know? Like, she's done it countless of times. I'm so confused right now. But yeah, I think we should actually probably leave the video here, okay? Otherwise, you are just gonna get a bit frustrated, and it is Christmas, okay? Callum, calm down. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new. Like I said, we're trying to reach 350,000 subscribers, maybe 330 before Christmas. That would be brilliant. Also, my social medias are @MARKIE. That's Instagram and Twitter. If you want to turn on the post notifications, that's the best way of getting notified when I upload. And yeah, until tomorrow, I guess I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.